welcome a visionary entrepreneur and also a very, very active angel investor, Deep Bajaj. You had to have at least 5 sales a day or the car would not come to pick you up. Giving up a profitable business.
Correct.
And then also spending all that money for it. It was a big financial decision.
To a point where this was clear that I'm becoming somebody that I was not too happy with. The first sales experience gave me the confidence to hear no's without taking it personally.
IIT, IIM combo without any work ex, I feel is a complete useless thing to do, because what are you getting a management degree for when you've done no management in life? But you decided to take a very different approach and sell something that nobody even was talking about. I think it was a problem that we didn't know existed.
All you're trying to do is solve somebody's problem.
Right.
Maybe by then I'd become too shameless. To say it doesn't matter. I have a product and I was just eager to just tell you that, hey, this is what it is. The taboo part of it, in fact, became an opportunity for me. That it's a taboo and maybe I can try to, just normalize the topic and find conclusions.
Were you getting profitable at that?
We were profitable in FY 19, 20, 21, all 3 years.
So how much of the company did you own at the end of the series A?
I think it was about 60.
Wow, 60%. It's very rare. Well, today we have with us, another entrepreneur that has completed a journey which has been very, very interesting, because it started with looking at creating some sort of a cultural shift in the mindsets of India, and he's in fact in a place where some of these videos were shot, and so it's going to be a very interesting conversation, because the exit obviously had its ups and downs, but it's finally done. And and to every entrepreneur, once this journey is done, there's always a new journey around the corner.
Correct.
So without further ado, I'd love to welcome a visionary entrepreneur and also a very, very active angel investor, Deep Bajaj. Deep, welcome to the Money Talks.
Thank you for having me. It's a
I know
pleasure.
I know we've been trying to get this timing done between us, but I'm so glad that we're here, and just wanted to understand, how are you feeling today?
Well, I think God's been very kind. No complaints. And I'm glad that it's finally happening, and it's happening at Cellar Door. It's a very, the studio has played a very important role. The studio and the team has played a very important role in our journey.
Tell
I
us
think
more.
I'll take you through
Okay.
as we go along. Yeah.
So, you started your career and just like me, as a door-to-door salesman. I think that's why we have a lot of respect for each other. And eGuruku, right, .com. What were you selling and what was that experience? Tell us about it.
First, I would love to know, what were you selling?
I was in the power sector. I sold long-term power contracts to homeowners and to owners of businesses in Texas. So I have knocked on enough doors that I can knock on anything with this knuckle, and there's no feeling on it. So I actually do that in meetings. Like this, I can knock on wood, I can knock on steel. I just have zero feelings. But it was a very interesting 100 doors a day.
Wow.
Started at 12 in the afternoon to 9:30 at night.
Yeah.
And you had to have at least 5 sales a day, or the car would not come to pick you up.
What are you saying?
Yeah, so you had to walk back to the office. That was my boss was what they would call him. He was a tough guy, very tough on us. But yeah,
wow.
it was very, very
So I think I've had it very easy then. Let me just say that. Sir, we were, this was a direct sales agency for, or DST actually, it was a direct sale team.
Okay.
For this online portal called eGuruku.com. And they were into selling, those, back in 2001, 2, there used to be those dial-up MTNL connections, if you remember, we used to take those.
Correct.
So they were selling online courses for students in 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. So that you could, these are all digitized and assistive for your boards largely.
Achha.
And that was the thing. So yeah, started with that.
Where was this company based out of?
Delhi only. It was very much in Delhi. It was, I think their head office used to be in Okhla.
Okay.
And the DST, the team, we used to operate out of this place called Sadiq Nagar, which is near Andrewsganj in south of Delhi.
So how did you get that job? It's usually not the first port of call to be a door-to-door salesperson.
Well, I think serendipity.
Okay.
I didn't think that I would really end up taking it up. I was just trying to make it to the college of my choice, which was taking time, and I thought it'll be nice to make some money. So I was just going through the papers, and there was a small classified ad, which said sales executives wanted. And I think what caught my attention was 6,000 rupees as the salary. And so I thought, yeah, 6,000 rupees is a lot of money, man. So, all that you need is, some money for your fun stuff, like I love to say, for beer.
Yeah.
And and other than that, I was like, fair enough, yeah, it'll be some more money in the hands. So I just appeared for an interview.
Acha.
And I think they just wanted anybody because, so they hired, and from there the journey started.
Well, the truth about any door-to-door sales job is we start with anybody.
Correct.
And we train them into becoming
Correct.
killers. So how long were you as door-to-door salesperson?
Well, it wasn't strictly door to door though,
Acha.
in our case, but I was there for about a year
Oh, wow.
before another company for which these guys were going to become the direct selling agents for, saw my work, and they said, why don't you come on board? So from there I moved to Birla Sun Life and sold insurance,
Wow.
bank assurance with a few clients of Birla Sun Life.
Okay.
And that I did again for about 7-8 months, and then and that was the last job that I did actually
Acha.
in India. And after that, moved to a small call center, started a call center of my own, and
10
from
people.
there,
That's
10,
what-
yeah,
yeah.
8 to 10.
Yeah.
It started with 2 actually,
Acha.
and then over a period it became 4 or 6.
So were you always looking to become an entrepreneur, or was that just the opportunity
No,
showing
yeah,
up?
it's like I think it was never like that. I think it's just that one thing led to another. You come across people and they influence you in ways that you don't imagine, that you can't at that stage imagine. And similar.
So who was this person that influenced you?
So yeah, I think after I was straight out of my school,
Okay.
2001, and the DSA, DST, which is called MC Square, is where there were these 2 partners called Gautam and Karthik, Katie.
Okay.
And I think the fact that young guys were doing their own business, and Katie also didn't come from a business family, and was fairly dynamic. I mean, he would enter a room and he would own it, and I had the initial spent a lot of time traveling with both the founders, so quite like that stuff that hey, you can do it on your own. And I don't think it was, I mean, these days a lot is said around how to start and when to start and what all do you need to start. I think I'm happy that back then there was not so much of internet or the only advice were your friends who said, kar sakta hai, kar le yaar. And I think that's how it started.
Get going.
Get going, of course, and at the end of the day, you're also looking at it from the lens of saying, what do you have to lose? Correct. So I thought, karke dekhta hu. And these guys also encouraged a few other friends. There was another friend who was working with the bank. His name is Vishal, and he also said, yeah, if you want to do it, I'll support. So I said, fair enough. So from there, the selling of insurance, general insurance, which is your car insurance, back then you were not able to renew it online.
Right.
So we should just call the guys and say, your car insurance is due. Send the runner, pick the check, deposit it, make your money, and you're fine. So that's how entrepreneurship started.
How long did that go on?
That was still a couple of years. I think I'd finished my graduation by then.
So were you guys profitable?
Was there any other way? Salary kahan se doge, boss? Delhi hai. Pitai hoti hai seedha if you don't pay. Yeah, of course.
But then what was the next steps from there? What led to you did your masters in Australia?
Yeah,
right?
I think so. What started to happen was I moved to correspondence to finish my graduation while all this was happening. So money wise, it was getting better by every passing day. Especially I come from a lower middle class background. In the sense, money was never available in abundance. So money was getting better, but what I saw was, we were just discussing like about these 2 carpenters. I saw that while I was putting in a lot of hours, there was need to sharpen my saw to be able to I think do just better. And life had become around morning till evening. You're a bachelor, you're having all the fun in the world. So morning office, you're coming at any time, going at any time because you're the boss.
Correct.
And while I was putting in all the hours that were required, evening became about similar. Hey, let's catch up with the friends. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday was all about being at this place called Turquoise Cottage, which is in South of Delhi, and used to play great music and beers again. So I think that life was just becoming it was becoming a routine. And I don't know what and who must have told me at that time that I need to break this circuit. Otherwise, I don't know which way it would have gone. So then I decided if the circuit has to be broken, then I need to really do a hard reset. So it gave my cat, got through a couple of institutes here. And but another friend suggested that, yeah, it's better that if you can get it outside, just go out. So that then made Australia happen.
But going outside and like coming from the background you did, it was a big financial decision.
Correct.
To do an MBA. Plus, you had a running business, so the opportunity cost for you was a lot more, right?
Correct.
Because when you're there, you're not working.
Correct.
I think MBAs in Australia are 1 year, right?
Yeah, it's 2 years, but I mean, you could finish it because they're modules, right? I mean,
Right.
like you study, so you're supposed to finish certain number of units, and you do it at your pace. You could do it in 2.5 years, you could do it in 2 years, you could do it in 1.5 years. But yes, it was back then 2 years.
But the opportunity cost must have been like giving
Correct.
up a profitable business,
Correct.
and then obviously spending all that money for MBA. So how did that decision finally get made? And then what were you expecting to happen after MBA?
So profitable wasn't your kind of profitable, हाँ कि मतलब नोट छाप रहे हो आप महीने के. Profitable
Well,
is that
three times a week at Turquoise Cottage, उतना तो नोट आ
अब
रहे थे.
उतना तो हाँ वो तो आप 10,000 में भी survive कर सकते थे, तो उससे ज़्यादा आ रहे थे I think. But so it came to a point where this was clear that yeah, I'm becoming somebody that I was not too happy with.
Got it.
And the break was required. And yeah, it was a big decision because I hadn't saved up all this money to fund that education.
Correct.
I was independent. I was able to take out my expenses. I was able to take out my rent, and I was able to take out my salaries. That's as far as profitability went.
Correct.
And but there was no surplus flowing in. Was it good from a 19, 20-year-old point of view? Yes, it was. Was it something that I thought I'd be able to do at scale all my life? Maybe the writing was clear on the wall. No, I had to really sharpen my, weapons.
Yeah.
So then that opportunity came in. Yes, it was a big decision. There was not a lot of free cash at home. So my dad, whatever little FDs he had saved up, and one joint property we had, which had its own saga around it. And we took a loan. My Chachaji helped us in that loan. But that is all that he had. So I think my dad took that punt, that whatever he had, he just said, fair enough, just go and do it. This is all that I have. I still remember, he was taking out those 50,000 and 1 lakh and 2 lakh sort of FDs that he had. Yeah, this is all that I have. Ab tu dekh le kya karna hai, In fact, there was some insurance also. LIC chalta tha tab kafi.
Correct.
Abhi bhi hai, khair. And he would save up. He said, this is all that I have. Said it with the Chacha. He was in the bank. And if you can do something, fair enough. And I think he was advised also, this is all that you have, and you're putting it all on a son who might not even come back.
Correct.
So, but he took that punt. So Australia happened like that. And I went, then started working those 2 jobs, I think that changed a lot of things.
Okay.
Because this is the first time when I was all alone. There were no mobile phones. Calling was, of course, very expensive, where you do those international calling cards.
Vonage type.
Correct. So it gave a lot of time to think from a very, very surrounded, a lot of people around you, guiding you every day, or at least, you don't even get time to think. Like we were just discussing, you're going away for
Correct.
5 days, you
5
said,
days, yeah.
to read books.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm so, you should be so proud of yourself for doing this. But there is no concept of me time in India. You're always surrounded, either by thoughts or by people. So I think Australia decision was first changing, the first pivot, the first big shift in my life, which gave me, again in hindsight I'm saying, it must have given me a lot of time to introspect and get a grip on life to say, hey, if these things are important, I've been only doing all the urgent things.
Correct.
This is what I need to focus on. These are decisions. So you started managing your money, you started managing your kitchen, you started understanding that, money can be spent in 2 ways. I can just keep shopping and do stuff because nobody's asking for money back, or I can use that money to pay back my loan.
That's true.
So I think that changed a lot of things. That me time really gave me
Structure, maybe.
Correct.
Yeah. And then you decided to come back at some point.
Correct.
You said, I'm going to do an events company.
correct.
Total shift. Right now, where did this idea germinate? Because the events company did really well. I mean,
Well, again.
then now we're talking about my
Correct.
kind of money, right?
Still not your kind of money. Let's be humble about it. Yes, I think इस तरह की बहुत decision है मेरी life में भी जैसे जैसे आगे जाएंगे that I think I've done so many hard resets that yeah, it amazes me also at times. You know, I mean,
Because we haven't even reached Serona yet. And it's
Correct.
always like door-to-door sales, Australia.
Correct.
Calling center, Australia. Now we're talking about
Correct. Events coming
company.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's all. I do believe that it's all. I don't know if I can say this, but I think it was all destined to happen this way. Everything that happened taught me a few things. Like, you know, the first knocking, the first sales experience gave me the confidence and the confidence to be able to talk to people.
True.
And also the confidence to hear no's without taking it personally. You know, I come from
So critical. So
very
critical,
critical, correct. You know, and I come from a neighborhood school, so you are now dealing with. And as I entered the startup ecosystem, I think by then that muscle was very strong. That
Yeah.
you know, your degrees don't save you. You know, there's another set of things that are at work, which if you have, you'll be successful, independent of your backgrounds. I think that sales experience gave a few, I think, skills that eventually helped later when I was trying to scale Sirona. The call center, how not to do things. We scaled, we were profitable, not able to do it. Still, I was not able to figure out how will it scale. The fact that scale is important came in very early in my life. And that experience also taught something. Going to Australia, losing a few things, taught how deadlines are important. Like I remember once, you know, money wasn't, again, there in abundance, but how seriously should you take deadlines? I think the first big lesson which is etched in my memories is I used to stay in a hostel.
Yeah.
And, you know, they used to have this thing where some residents were given responsibility of a block.
Okay.
And if you were to say that I will handle the block of, let's say, these 10 residents, your rent was free.
Acha.
So matlab, and it's good. I think $150 odd a week, buddy. So it was, for me, buckets loads of money, which I could, 200 to 300, I don't remember the exact figure, but it was good number of dollars. And you could get to stay free. So not only are you not paying, you know, you're staying for free.
Correct.
And getting more money for it. So you were getting money to stay in the property where so far you were paying money to just stay. And there was a deadline. And I thought Friday, 5 o'clock, I'll fill it. And I reached Friday at 7 o'clock. Yeah, theek hai, Friday to hai. I'll dunk it in. And they rejected the application. And a few other friends got that free residency there.
Oh, wow.
So I'm saying everything, how it teaches you in life, you just don't know. So by then, the value of deadlines, then another opportunity came by, and the minute it came, within 2 hours, my application was in. So I became the senior resident at another lodge. But and then, of course, this lesson also taught that eventually everything happens for good.
Yeah.
So eventually, when I got to become the senior resident at Water Lodge, I was able to make more money than the senior residents at Toad Hall.
There's always a plan there.
There's always a plan. I think it's all destiny, and everything teaches you something. So to come back to events, so before going to Australia, it was clear that, you know, I mean, that I'm going to Australia. So I had wrapped up the call center, whatever, you know, this was done, and I had 3-4 months before that happened. So it was a friend of mine who I had met at the same agency, the egurukul.com DST agency, he used to do their advertising collaterals, brochure banne, flyers banne, wo sab Thyme used to handle. And Thyme was run by this gentleman called Fahim Khan, and he was 10 years my senior.
Okay.
And we hit it off. We would enjoy conversations, and he said, yeah, you know, I'm tired of advertising. I want to move to events. You know, because advertising, again, back then wasn't like how if you have to approve anything today, you can do it on WhatsApp.
Correct.
I'm talking about, let's say, when he started, 96, where printouts used to go. So, you know, and it was painful.
Yeah.
Any small change would mean you go back to the agency, you do it again, and, you know,
Very
and
much
printouts.
Mad Men style.
Oh, dude, yeah, correct. I love the show, though.
Yeah.
So it was like that, and he'd done it for almost 5 years back then, 5-6 years, and he started saying, I want to do something. So before going to Australia, he said, hey, I'm getting this opportunity for a client for whom I've done branding, and he wants to launch his mall, and he's asking me to handle it. So can you help me? So I said, yeah, fair enough. I mean, you know, when have I ever planned my life? So I said, हाँ ठीक है, करके देखता हूँ. So he said, इसके लिए sponsorship raise करनी है.
Okay.
And sales shameless calling तो कर सकते हैं ना मतलब
Correct.
तो वो तो आता ही है so ठीक है
In
ये
fact, I'm going to
करके
ask you later, of a very hard no that you must have received, and how that felt. 'Cause,
oh you have a lot of hard no's yeah Australia also was selling right so I have seen no's in so many places that now I'm like I don't take it personally I
Yeah.
think that's the only filter at जो early age में नहीं आता early age में
Correct.
you're like are you good enough did I do something wrong and today you realize that when I get there are times when I get these telecaller calls and I'm like borderline abusive I'm like don't call me you get 20 calls in a day right
Yeah.
and then there are times when there's so much of empathy कि यार बेचारी कोशिश ही तो कर रही है यार she's just trying to do her targets man you were there huh? You were there not too long ago
No, I actually start critiquing them. I'm like, यार ऐसे नहीं किया कर. You could have said this. But sir, would you buy? No, I'm not buying. But I'm just letting you know you could do better.
so you're wasting his or her time just say yes and he would bless you far more तो यार तो उसको जाने से पहले आई सेड हाँ टेली कॉलिंग मुझे आती है मैं सेल्स कर सकता हूँ एटलीस्ट और आई कैन डू द कोल्ड कॉलिंग आई कैन पिक अप द फोन ट्राई टू स्पीक टू यू गेट एन अपॉइंटमेंट यू मीट मी वेरी गुड यू डोंट मीट मी आई विल पुट इन माई एक्सेल शीट आई विल कॉल यू ऑन द डे तो वो मुझे करना आता है सो वी डिड दिस इवेंट and I quite liked the thrill of it I mean there were fashion shows so you're looking at again you're again 21-year-old
Yeah.
So 21 22 I don't know whatever so 2005 whatever that makes it 22 maybe and you're looking at you're launching a mall and first time you're doing this where people are where now the entire thing is happening according to the deadline 7 o'clock the show starts and there are 12 fashion shows and beautiful models walking the ramp high on everything in life so I was like I'm quite liking the thrill that I'm getting out of it so I told him before going कि हाँ चलिए वापस आऊँगा अगर आऊँगा तो ये साथ करेंगे
Okay.
So that is the reason. So for the seed for that events and India coming back was sown before I left. Also the family was here. And so yeah, I decided I'll come back. So I came back.
And so you came back in 2006.
Correct.
You start Time.
Correct.
Scaled. I think it scaled to like 10 crores in revenue. Which
Correct.
Trust me, in that time, 10 crores is a lot of money.
You're just kind. No, I don't think so. But yes. So how I'll say it is this. So 2006 we came back and events was, you can say it was almost zero because advertising business had to be shut and we had to start selling Time. So now from me, it was an interesting journey because by the time I came back from Australia, I think I had paid off almost 80-90% of my loan.
Oh, wow, amazing.
Yeah. Because
while you were studying, I mean.
While I was studying, so morning were classes.
Yeah.
And then I would work few days at this kiosk called Hutchison. They were 3 Mobile, selling mobile phones and connections to students.
There's a lot of similarity between our stories, right? I sold mobile phones in college too.
What are you saying? I think that's the only job that they give us.
Indians are really good at it.
Then evening I used to work at a restaurant as a waiting staff, as a waiter.
I used to clean gas stations.
Excellent. तो अब खाने को नहीं मिलता ना gas station में कुछ.
नहीं क्यों नहीं वहाँ पर जो
bread का हो गया.
हाँ bread
क्या यार. Not compared to butter naan, butter chicken, कच्चा प्याज, दाल मखनी.
I agree with that, but I was in a very small college town.
So I was also in Canberra. It's for dead and buried. It's like what people used to say for Dehradun and Pune long ago. It's only for the retired. Canberra it's the capital city. It's quiet. It's So evening was this restaurant where I used to work. So I'd saved up money and I'd paid off the loan. So when I came back, for me time was an interesting journey again because from where it started to by the time we left, I would say that we'd made it into a little bit of success from our standpoint. We do corporate events, so 0 to 1 crore to 5 to 7 to 10. So that journey was unfolding. We were doing events that we were very happy to do. And from our lens, bootstrapped, profitable.
Yeah.
It was a good journey. I don't know if figures wise it was a great outcome, but yes, it was a good show. Touchwood, God was kind.
And in between, Rashi enters the scene.
Correct.
And
the villain enters.
And then she was also running a luxury carpet business at the time.
Yeah. So 2009 is when we decided to do the suicide and got married.
This is the carpet business, the suicide.
No, it's Touchwood have been very, very blessed. So after her coming into my life, a lot of things changed again.
Achha.
For the better. Love or arranged? No love, yeah. All arranged. I think I just got her drunk one day and got her to say yes. That's where it was. But So she used to be in my coaching classes for
Achha.
CAT, for my pre-MBA CAT, the
Yeah.
CAT exams. And that's where we met, became friends, and kept in touch. I went to Australia. She went. She was in LSR and doing her thing, and I was just trying to do this coaching with my other things that I had, put my head in. And so that's where we became friends. From LSR, she went to SMHRE, then Infosys. I went to Australia, came back, did time. So life was running on parallel tracks.
I see.
2009 is when we decided to get married. Actually, she gave me a warning. She said, "Yeah, if you don't, I'll get married to somebody else." And in FOMO, up invest.
You learned FOMO right there. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, so then we got married, and
Achha.
yeah, so her father was into carpet exports, so the carpet know-how was there. But the decision to say that we'll do customized, handmade carpets is something that I would say was taken by us. So she got into carpets in 2009 and 2010. I exited events. So yeah.
And how long did you guys work together?
Time was 2006 till 2010.
Yeah.
Then carpets happened again. De facto free का salesman था ना मैं.
हाँ.
तो telecaller कोई तो चाहिए.
Do you think she married you because of your sales experience?
She definitely bought the spiel.
Yeah.
So yes, I was the free call center telecaller available to her, and ma'am of course won't call, so I would do the calling. So I did that for 3 years. Then I realized या तो शादी बचेगी या धंधा बचेगा.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
तो मैंने सोचा शादी बचा लेता हूँ. नहीं, I think so. I think it was never my calling in life, right? I mean, that I would say that a lot of decisions that I've taken, I would take the full credit and blame for.
Right.
Correct. The decision to say, okay, I'm not doing full-time graduation, credit, blame, I'll take it. Worked, didn't work, maybe I'll see when I'm at the finish line.
Yeah.
So far, it's working well. The decision to go to Australia and not do my master's from here, credit, blame, I'll take. Decision to come back, converted my MBA into Masters of Management. No, I said it's not adding value. I'll take the credit or blame. And even for time, decision to exit at a time when it was doing very well. I think.
What was the reason though to leave something?
Yeah, I think we just wanted different things in life.
Achha.
If I could just bluntly put it, it was I was, like I said, he was 10 years senior, and he was far more settled in life. I was a Delhi Punjabi boy, wanted more, and somewhere I think towards 2009-10, I started to see that if I have to make more money, we have to change the orbit far more. Team became important. It's just not about execution, guys. कि यार ये stage है, ये वो है, कर दो ये सब. You had to have smarter people, and also think, I think our shareholding wasn't equal.
Achha.
And that what it did is that either I make if we have to stay at the same level, I make more money, or we take the scale to such a level where the money that I want I get out of my share, right? And I think somewhere that after a few last couple of years, I think it wasn't going in that direction. So in all honesty, I think that was the reason where one day I thought that it's just not I think
excited to get out of bed.
Correct.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs said it, or who said it, I don't know, that if for a few days continuously, so there are days when even I don't want to get out of bed even now. There are days when stress is high and you're still learning how to grapple with it. All of us have hacks. Kabhi meditation kar loge, kabhi bachcho ke sath khel loge,
Yeah.
kabhi you'll watch Mad Men. So, but there are days when it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But if those days continue for a long period of time, you know that something is wrong. And I think when that stage had come, I thought this is not fulfilling me. While the money was good,
Yeah.
and I've said it earlier that Safari bhi aa gayi thi life mein. So Tata Safari boss was a thing for
Especially the 2010 version.
correct Delhi Punjabi boy. So yes, but I think it wasn't fun anymore. So then I decided that we have to move. So that's the reason why I moved out of events, and the whole reason of not being able to create an IP also happened. Which IP creation I got with carpets.
Right.
The first tryst with IP, that you can command a premium for a service,
Yeah.
which is differentiated, is a possibility. Started with carpets.
I
So
see.
she said, we said that she'll be India's first female carpet designer. She will customize carpets to your requirements, and of course, she also has a ready collection. So from there, the IP thing started. A couple of years I did it. The business was stable, and of course, Rashi's a fantastic operator, so she's very good with the clients that she has. And but again, there was, I think it was her family business. She was taking it forward. More power to her. Whatever role I had to play at that time, I played. The idea for Peabody was born, so I thought I'd do this. Which also, I think मेरी life में ना कोई भी straight चीजें नहीं आती एक तरह से. मतलब nothing is served on a platter.
Yeah.
I have to pick between a very cluttered bowl. So the idea for Peabody also came with 3 other ideas. It took me 2 years. Bajaj tubelight हूँ मैं, bulb नहीं हूँ. धीरे से जलता हूँ. It took me 2 years to figure out that Peabody is the product that I have to scale. Then Peabody continued for 10 years. Yes.
But I think by the time Peabody came in, you had almost, I would say 15 almost, I feel 15 years of work ex. 2013, 14.
I would say, yeah. I would say 10 years of serious full-time work ex. And because, I don't think whatever I did around my graduation, I will call it as work experience. Honestly, it was having fun with just paid the pocket money.
Yeah.
All that I did.
But, working in a restaurant, like I
Yeah,
said, working in a gas station, just doing the dirty jobs.
Correct,
Just not
correct,
like see, it's very easy to be the sahab in an office, right?
Correct.
But when it's only when you have to go clean the toilet.
Correct.
And you realize that, okay, this too is a job, because if it's not taken care of, it can really mess the entire organization.
Correct.
So I give a lot of value and credit to founders who've done that journey.
Correct.
Because I also feel like, and again, I'm highly critical of it within my own family. This IIT IIM combo without any work ex, I feel is a complete useless thing to do, because what are you getting a management degree for when you've done no management in life?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel and that's why I see at least in my personal portfolio that the founders who've taken this journey, they've done different things, they've exposed themselves to different things to get done.
Correct.
So whether it's managing, restaurant, you were managing even as something as small as a lodge, right? Or even selling cell phones, doing door-to-door sales. You may not realize it at the time you're doing it.
Correct.
But it's all adding, like in games, you have those power-ups. It's just adding all of that to you, that whenever that comes back in life, you're like, you know what, I know how to manage this.
Correct.
Because I've done this back somewhere else.
Correct. Yeah, maybe I think the way I look at it is, and maybe another point of view for you also. So, I feel what the IIT and IIM does to me, it just shows that the guy has a streak for excellence, at least in one thing, which is studies. So for me, I would always give full marks, but execution is another ball game.
That's what I'm talking. Yeah, exactly.
So that's where I think alone, like you very rightly said. So I'm not saying no marks taken away at all.
Yeah.
Brilliant minds. Execution is a different kind of a mindset.
Yeah. Especially in entrepreneurship.
Correct.
You may be fit for, let's say, you come out, corporate job, perfect, fantastic.
Correct.
That IIT IIM combo works. But if you are IIT IIM and want to be founder,
Correct.
like when there's only 10 people,
Correct.
There's nobody but you.
Correct.
Or sometimes it's only you, right? There's no 10 people also.
Correct.
So you're the guy answering the calls, you're the guy cleaning the office, you're the guy also dressing up and getting ready for the investor meetings. And guess what? You're the sales guy too.
Correct. Internet नहीं चल रहा है तो आप ही देख
Correct. हाँ, आप ही को phone लगाना है कि internet नहीं.
I remember Sirona के time पे मुझे there's a girl who'd come in and said, "यार we sell Peabody, right? We say toilets have to be you stand in pee and whatnot, and our toilets are not clean." I said, that's the whole point. Stand and pee. But I'm telling you that the escalations have come to that level. But I agree. What was your joy in working at a fuel station? I'm still intrigued.
Actually, that was my first job that I got offered. So I went to a very, very small college town called Sherman, Texas. It's about 75 miles north of Dallas.
Wow.
Right. So literally at the border of Oklahoma, if you miss our exit, you'll be in Oklahoma in 2 exits.
Wow.
Right. So very, very small college town. And, so I think in the US, you have this thing called the freshman 15, like gain 15 pounds, and then you miss home a lot.
Correct.
So I had gone from a city where I had 30,000 people at any point of time in my 5-kilometer radius to saying 30,000 people exist here.
Correct.
And there's only greenery and guys around, right? Like I said, guy घूम रही यहाँ. So you're like, भाई
only guys.
All the cows.
So guys around. That's okay.
And only one nightclub in town that was only played anything but cowboy music on Thursday nights.
Wow.
There was so if you had to go party or anything, it was 75 miles south. And Texas, by the way, has no public transport. So everything is cars.
Wow.
And I didn't have enough money to buy a car, at least the first,
Correct.
first 2 semesters or something. तो आदमी जाए करे तो करे क्या.
Correct.
And I had to, and I asked my dad, I want to buy a car. My dad's like, keep, नहीं मतलब खरीद लो, but of course you can buy a car. Why can't you buy a car? मना किसने किया?
वो capability statement नहीं है.
बोले capability है, but
Correct.
availability of
Correct.
cash नहीं है. So that's where I started looking for a job, and I met somebody at the mall, right? And that person referred me to a gas station, and it was purely I just wanted to make X amount of money. I could spare 5 or 6 hours every day.
Yeah.
In the evening, and they said I'll pay you some. I think at that time I was getting paid $9 an hour or something.
$6 to $10.
$9 an hour.
Correct.
And I had to clean the gas station. I had to restock for the next day.
Wow. Nice.
Right. I had to close out the register at night, and I had to leave. And I never realized that I was in an area which was it was like the meth capital, right? So I had no idea. We used to sell these cold medicine called pseudo 60s, right? And so he used to like कुछ भी हो जाए एक आदमी को ना 2 से ज़्यादा नहीं देना एक दिन में. I was like I didn't understand, never explained the legality around it, but they used to use pseudo 60s to make
of course
meth, right?
Yeah.
And तो ये नहीं पता था कि I could have been robbed any one of these days because there was like this stack of pseudo 60s right here. Anyways, hindsight is 2020, but I ended up buying a car at the end of that summer. My first car was a
Lancer?
नहीं. It was a Lesable, like a very it was an old person's car.
Of course.
Right? So Mercury Lesable or something. So I bought one of those like $2,000.
Correct.
And
So similar.
V6 engine.
Nice.
Kabhi life mein the only thing I'd driven before that was a Maruti ST, which was a 996
you also
cc.
have a
Right?
steam. Very nice.
And then I got so many tickets my first summer, just driving it around. But yeah, it started with that, and but then the person who got me that job, they ran a jewelry store. I started working in that. That was my first experience with sales.
Nice.
And that it changed my life. I've posted about this multiple times. The experience the first time I had about sales was this woman who came in to buy a Zippo lighter. This is my second day at work. She was going to buy a $40 lighter. $40, that's it. And she came with her 2 grandchildren. मेरे husband के लिए एक lighter चाहिए, and I want you to engrave his name in the back. And I just watched my boss, like he was talking to her, like I don't know what was going on, but he was talking, because I remember there was words being spoken and things being done. And about 40 minutes later, she left with a $4,000 bracelet on her hand.
Wow.
She paid $40 for that Zippo lighter, and he gave her one more free. I was like, what happened? Like, she just spent 100x more than what she came in to spend. Now this is the skill. If I learn this, I could change the world, right? At least the world around me.
Correct.
And I think that's how the whole journey of like working 3 jobs in college, and
Beautiful.
That's how it all started. Yeah, that's so. Yeah.
Similar. Yeah. Great. Good to know.
So but to me, I thought when I got my first job, even doing door-to-door sales, and finally became an entrepreneur in 2010, actually, I felt all these experiences added up.
Yeah, correct.
Because I had cleaned gas stations.
Yeah.
I had, in fact, doing door-to-door sales, I had done what I had to do. I heard so many no's. I've been chased out of homes. I've been chased out of cities, right? Because I was the only brown guy for like 60 miles. And there would be a canine unit with a dog in the back.
Wow.
We heard there's some foreigner around town walking around with a binder. So you're like, who's the foreigner? He's like, no, you're the foreigner. And so I think all of that prepared you for entrepreneurship. I don't know if that was something you felt when you became entrepreneur.
Yeah, of course. I think everything teaches. Yeah, I think Jim Rohn keeps saying this. Everything matters.
Yeah.
So every decision that we're taking, every decision that we're not taking, how big or independent or how big or small, it all matters. So yes, similar journey. I mean, when I picked up a Mitsubishi secondhand, and did all of this. I think so. That's for another day, maybe, where we can try to draw the similarities, esteem. So after the call center, the esteem is what I'd picked up. Well, anyways.
But so Sirona now happens, right? Now this is another hard reset. Very different, and especially at a time, I think internet was sort of penetrating, but I wouldn't say that India was really an internet economy. I think 20 million people, if that, transacting on the internet in 2014-15. But you decided to take a very different approach and sell something that nobody even was talking about. I think it was a problem that we didn't know existed.
Correct.
Right? I think PSafe
was
came
around
a
the
couple
same
of
time.
years after.
No, we were around the same time. I think we all started around, the 2 of us started the same time, around the similar time. In fact, I remember meeting them at HealthCart, used to be a portal their office and learnt about them. For some time, we even sold together. But yes,
Acha. So then pee buddy. Tell
Peabody.
us where did this idea germinate from that women need to stand and pee, right?
Well, I think it was it is serendipity in its true nature, because events, we used to do these large scale concerts, and when you have these portable toilets, it's very difficult to keep them
Clean.
You know, right now, so if you attend concerts, it's nothing to do with the organizers. It's just difficult. Portable, correct? How much can you do? Especially in a very high turnover sort of a setting. I'd seen that. We had one miscarriage, before our first daughter was born. Had seen how UTI can be so painful for women. My mother had arthritis in her knees. So I'd seen how sitting and standing becomes an issue for women, even if you get their knees replaced. So all of that was there. It was all happening at some time, So I'm saying how it's only in hindsight that you can join the dots, like the great Steve Jobs says. But so all this had happened. 2013 was a road trip. 4 couples, Delhi Jaipur highway. We were drinking whatever we could get our hands on, specifically beer, and and girls were not even having water, because if they'd have water, they'd have to use a washroom. And everybody has access to these modern eateries.
Yeah.
So turnover again. How many number of people are using those washrooms? How clean can you keep them? So I was just joking around. I said God loved men more because He made our body so much better. We can stand and pee anywhere, and every second tree is a urinal for us.
Yeah.
It's a convenience, especially in India.
And the tree's happy too.
No, well, don't say that. So not that I'm proud of it, but it's a convenience, right? It's it's incredible convenience. So that on that trip, a friend's wife suggested that, oh yeah, it's only an India issue. Had I been in Europe or US, I would have solved this, because I've seen women use contraptions to stand and pee. And I don't know what that thing was, but I thought, well, this is such a great, this should be here. Because before that, in your realm of possibilities, the only solution you'd offer to a lady traveling with you is, let's find a clean toilet.
Yeah.
That's a solution.
Correct.
While for men, the only solution is, कहीं भी रुक जाऊंगा. At least in India, correct? और कहीं नहीं भी रुकूंगा तो petrol pump पे रुक जाऊंगा, because petrol pumps, the only thing is petrol pumps cannot be used by women. Those toilets are
Filthy,
still filthy, correct? But we can, right? We don't touch the seat. So when this came in, I'm assuming this must have happened, that all these 3-4 flashes, would have just gone past. And I would say, it's not a joke. I can actually make it work. So Peabody actually came out of personal and professional experiences, felt so closely. And maybe on that trip, we must have discussed hundreds and hundreds of ideas. This must have stayed back because of, like I said, personal and
All
professional.
just connected together.
All connected, correct. So came back and thought, ये तो boss Einstein वाला idea, boss. This will change the world. This is $1 billion idea. I applied for a patent, only to realize that the first patent for this category, I didn't know the category was called this, female urination devices, goes back to 1919.
Wow. In India.
No, US. 100
okay.
years ago. 100 years ago. I say India, US छोड़ देते हैं, world एक ही जगह है, मुझे लगता है. So somebody 100 years ago had thought of this as a concept. And when you were getting shot in Jallianwala Bagh, somebody was helping women stand and pee, at least with the creations. So heartbroken initially, but then I thought, big deal, यार क्या फर्क पड़ता है? मैंने कोई IP शाइपी के लिए थोड़ी, because I was fond of IPs, like I said, So, but I thought, yeah, this, why is it not commercialized? Like, why is it not like petrol? कि अगर invent हो गया तो हर जगह होना चाहिए. It can fuel cars. It can take people forward. Why is it not railroads? It got invented in the US maybe, but changed the way people travel across the world. So I said, why is it not commercialized? And I couldn't find anything. So I thought, I will still do it. Went ahead, got my design patent on the product. And started it with, again, same logic. कि यार धंधा शुरू करने के लिए you need to, the funding ecosystem I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
All
And also very nascent, I would say.
Very nascent, and I didn't know it. Yeah, I didn't have this network at all, right?
Yeah.
If you see, maybe because you were in the US, if you were next to the valley, you would be more privy to information around these platforms being formed and people giving them money. I had no notion of it. So the only thing that I had is, well, I think I would love to try it, and if I can sell it, it'll be interesting. I'll just sell it because I think it's a very pressing need. So started with that, but took me a couple of years to exit out of everything else. There was carpets, which was peaking. I had invested in a few other things with a little bit of money that I had made from events. So I had to exit all of that, declutter, and that's what all this experience. I think it took me 15 years to realize that I can do only one thing at a time well.
Okay.
So I think I would say the 15 years till 2015 taught me that, I can't do four things together. People can, more power to them. I can't. So one thing at a time. If I'm driving, which also gave me clarity to today, help some of these founders where I have a little bit of exposure to say, "Yaar, you need to understand yourself better. If you're somebody who can multitask, don't try to become a one focused person.
Yep.
And if you're somebody who's a one focused person, don't try to become the other." At least for me, it was clear that if
And it's also very difficult because when you see the other person, you feel, "Arey, ye hona chahiye tha."
Correct.
Like,
Yeah, we mimic-
I want to be focused, but you're like, play to your strengths.
play to your strengths, correct. I mean, that couldn't be said better. So I realized that my strength is I can pick up the call, I can keep relationships, I can keep in touch with people, and I can't do it for four businesses. For every other business, there needs to be somebody leading it. For me, my business, I can do this, and I can do this only. So if you see carpets, so Rashi was that person who was the person who was doing the everyday job very, very well, and that's the reason why business today also does well. I'll talk to Celador. We need to change this carpet. So she does that well. And in my case also, it was clear that I can do only one thing well at a time. So all energies got focused around 2015. And I would say that's when I started finding all solutions around female hygiene. Whatever customers started sharing, we started launching. And that's how Sirona was born as a company. And
But the interesting thing was you're a guy
yeah,
trying to develop a device that is to be used, at least again 2015 India. It's a very private thing.
Correct.
Right? How are you doing the testing?
correct.
And B, how would you know that the problem is being solved?
Well, I think I don't honestly see this as a guy solving for women. Earlier, I have sold mobile phones, guys selling a mobile phone. Before that, I've served butter chicken, butter naans, and in an Indian restaurant, which is owned by a Pakistani, by the way. So I've done that. Before that, I had sold insurance. Before that, I had sold an online portal. Came back, was selling events.
But I
and
mean, it's a
carpets.
physical device.
Coming.
Right? Yeah.
I think for me, it's in all these transactions, all you're trying to do is solve somebody's problem.
Right.
And it's a solution for a problem. In this case also, I think while maybe by then I'd become too shameless, to say that it doesn't matter. I have a product and I was just eager to just tell you that, hey, this is what it is. The taboo part of it, in fact, became an opportunity for me, that it's a taboo and maybe I can try to, just normalize the topic and find consumers. And you'd be surprised that, this question, interestingly, has never come from a girl to me.
Acha.
It's only from men who'll be like, "You're a man. How are you, trying to solve it, and how do you solve this?" I said, "Yaar, men or women ki baat nahi hai yaar. It's just a product. If it works, then who's selling it doesn't matter."
Correct.
So, and for me, I think there was between Avis and Eurocar ka ek campaign tha, where the Avis or one of the two said, one is leader, the second is a follower. Leader had whatever byline they had, the tagline, and the follower had, "We try harder." Because we have to reach there. So in my case, the fact that we were a team of men trying to solve these problems always kept us little more on toes to ensure that we don't get the product wrong. And at the end of the day, validation came in from family, it came in from friends, it came in from fools, it came in the first set of believers, customers who were so kind to us. They just kept sharing because you were had it been maybe if I was doing lingerie, let's say just for discussion, there were still many people doing it, correct? So they could find 100 gaps in what I was doing. What I was doing, nobody else was doing. And it was solving a very, very pressing problem. It still is a problem. You as women in your life, even when they're traveling today, life is still planned around toilets. While there are solutions with us, the solutions that PSA was also offered. But still life is planned around toilets. So what they saw was that there was this guy trying to solve this. And if I tell them other problems also, maybe he'll solve those as well. So it to me became a blessing in disguise. While anybody who's solving a Me Too problem was like, fair enough, you're maybe solving it cheaper.
Yeah.
We were the guys who said, hey, well, you can stand in pee and we can tell you how it works. And, there are women in videos who are showing you how it works. Period pain, we looked at India's first period pain relief patch. The only solution before that was hot water bottle, balms or painkillers. So a different format again. We had got, and people were talking about pads. We started talking about pad disposal. It's a very intimate issue. Like if somebody gets down here, there's no, bin, while Celador has it. But if there's no bin, where do you throw it? How do you throw your pad? So we had come up with disposal bags. And they were all amongst, we were India first in all these products. So customers started trusting a lot more. So I think it never became a gender thing. For them, Deep was just a person you could talk to say, hey, launch this also. To give you a last example, we came, before we exited Sirona, We were country's highest selling menstrual cup brand. And menstrual cup is an alternate to pad. We're a
Right.
very pad dominant country, right? I mean, during your periods, you would look at pads, at best tampons. We started pushing the use for menstrual cups. Idea for that was proposed by a customer in a trip, in an event, who just walked up. The minute she knew that I was the Peabody guy, she came in and said, "Hey, yaar, why don't you launch cups also?" That's it. That was it. Nothing about, hey, can I talk to you in a corner? And the minute she knew it was Peabody, the guy who made Indian women stand in pee, or India's first female urination device. That's what it was. And we got so many ideas like this. It's not funny.
So you were just, was it you were just insane about problem this, I mean, you had this insanity to solve this problem?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Then the whole cover of, hey, this is a men versus woman
Yeah.
thing didn't exist at all.
Correct. It's like Golgappa, right?
Yeah.
Who's serving doesn't matter, right? Just focus on the Golgappa if it's made.
Like I just compared a menstrual cup to a cold cup.
I'm like, who's selling it doesn't matter, bro. So,
But then tell us, like, what was the first advertising campaign? I believe Celador was involved in that.
correct.
So what was the first advertising campaign like? What did it feel to have your first actual
Yeah.
sale, like outside the friend, family, and fools?
Yeah. So I would say that first, we have many first, I think, saviors who've come to our rescue. I was from events, so you know how everything adds up.
Yeah.
I was from events, and I could see a very clear problem during marathons. So I wrote to all these marathon companies, and nobody replied. But then one did. Procam International used to organize Airtel Delhi Marathon Bombay, Standard Chartered Bombay Marathon. And these guys called. I remember DJ was the CEO, Dilip, and he got me to fly down to Bombay, and he said, "Hey, buddy, I love what you're doing, because we try to keep our toilets clean all the time, but it still gets difficult, and we want to give our women superlative experience." And this is when I was just struggling. You have more, I would say, self-doubt days than self-conviction days.
So it's
In the
it's a
early-
normal thing to have that.
Oh, of course. I still have them. Not that I've done anything great in life, but I would say that from where I come, the distance that I've covered, I think most people will say that God has been super duper kind, which He has been. But I'm saying right now also there are days which are dark.
Yeah.
Which you don't know if what I'm doing is right, if it's headed in the right direction, if the advice that I gave somebody is correct, and if I've invested the right money, if what I'm going to do next should be this or this. So the days are there. The only difference is today I've learned how to deal with them on most days. Back then there were most days when I couldn't deal with it. Now I've found my answers, which you will also find, by the way, as you go along the journey. But in this particular case, I lost the chain of thought. What was it?
No, we're talking about the first sale in this.
The first sale.
marathon.
So yes, the marathon. So DJ called and he said, "I love what you're doing, and this is the dark days going on. We are trying to sell. I was trying to sell it to the stores, and stores won't keep it because of bald guy. Trying to sell with my kind of looks a product for women, and saying women can stand in peeing. It's all cross. So Shakal looking guy walks into a store." Tells a shopkeeper, "Sir, मेरे पास एक product है जिसको खड़े होके women can stand in pee." And he's a judging guy, who right now also puts his pads in a black plastic and gives. So I'm sir, ये रखो आप दुकान पे. तो कितना भी sincerely बोल दो, cross. And my packet was also, green, and it said Peabody's first pack. It was ladies' freedom to stand in pee was big, bold. Because I thought अगर वो shelf पे पड़ा है, दूर से दिख जाए वो क्या product है. Peabody बाद में देख लेना. What it does is more important.
Right.
So green packaging, not pink. Loud packaging, not
Subtle.
discreet. Man walking in, trying to sell it. The category doesn't exist at all. Why will I take a panga? So cross. So initially, no shopkeeper was willing to keep it. Online was just opening up, but online के ऊपर भी यार, how do you let more? अभी तो adoption नहीं build हुआ है. People are not transacting as much. 2014-15. And how do you then get them to, get sales from there? So when we got this offline opportunity, blessings have come in so many forms. So this marathon, they were the first one to place order for 10,000 Peabodies. And
Wow.
they said, we will give it to each and every woman for free. That became such an incredible sampling. And then, of course, Pinkathon and all the other guys came in. So initially, we tried everything. I think what you should do is put a list of all the prospects that you can work with on a whiteboard. At least I'm a whiteboard guy. And the day when you're going through a rough patch, just go through whichever you have not really knocked. So we made a list of saying doctors can recommend. We said events can buy. We said online portals can buy. We said we can export it also. And all the things were there, and we started knocking all of them. on respective
Which
days.
was your best sales channel though?
It has changed, Initially, it was, like I said, some of these events gave us a very interesting launch pad. Then doctors became the mouthpieces because what happened was for pregnant ladies during last trimester, sitting and standing becomes an issue. So it was no more about saying a discretion that I want to use this toilet. It became almost a medical device. खड़े उठने में problem है ना. You can
Correct,
take your wife or girlfriend to a 5-star, but if she's pregnant in her last trimester, she still needs to sit and stand
Right.
to use the washroom. If your mother has arthritis, you can fly her business class for all you can, but she still has to sit and stand. So Peabody helps them stand. So doctors at one point became the guys who kept us. So I think God kept sending a lot of saviors at different stages of our lives to keep us afloat because we were not funded. We were bootstrapped for the first few years. And then God sent angels, and then Amazon, then Flipkart, and then by the time our exit was coming closer, quick commerce had taken off. So I think if you're at it, you will crack it. So the name of the game here is just be
I
in
like
the
that.
game.
If you're at it, you'll crack it.
Correct.
That should be in bold letters for this episode. Yeah.
That's my line, by the way. So I
No,
copyright it.
we'll write TM on the top. but and then the funding did happen, right?
And
Because
the
I think
funding,
somewhere around 2016 or 17,
Correct.
you got, because IN came later, or was it all through IN?
Iron. We had like friends, family, and fools. So I had a few friends who chipped in earlier, and it was more of a partnership. कि यार मैं काम कर लेता हूँ, तेरे पास पैसा है, तू पैसे दे दे. And so it was. But I think formal funding world for me for the first time came through again serendipity. I think the name of the game is, like I said, if you're at it, you crack it, sort of a thing. So I would just start attending. I did not know the people. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to reach out to the decision makers of these bigger marketplaces and modern trade outlets. So I started going to events. This one particular event I attended because I wanted to meet the better looking Deep, Deep Kalra sir of Make My Trip. And my thesis was they had just acquired Red Bus, which is into bus tickets. And what I wanted to propose was that, sir, for your tickets also, air tickets also, and for buses also, if for, you can start giving them P-buddies, at least the travel becomes easier for women. So in that event, I met him. In that event, I got the idea for menstrual cups also, by the way. And from there, there was something that I started meeting Thai guys. Thai was organizing an event called Tie the Knot, CNBC Young Turks Tie the Knot. On that, I said, fair enough, I'll pitch. And Ian saw us. So just, you never know what thing will lead to it.
You had a stellar group of angels. You had Anand Ladsarya ji.
Yeah.
You
All of
had
them.
Neeraj Goenka, a lot of these, Sanjay
Excellent.
Mehta.
Sanjay Mehta sir, Vikas Kutyala ji, Ishan Singh. I think rock stars through and through. And all the others, by the way, whose name I can't take because it was a long list. But I think each and every one of them, the punt that they took at that time.
First round was like 2 crores, I think.
2.96 crores, yeah. And in all humility, I would say, helped us create the category, which eventually also saw some other players come in. But had it not been for them, it wouldn't have
And
happened.
interestingly, I think from what I went through the list of, I think 71, 72 investors, none of them are really institutional, right? Mostly
all
corporates, family
individuals.
offices,
Correct.
and angels.
Correct.
Was that a conscious choice, or you just think that the institutions were not ready for such a?
I had no choice. I just pitched, and I didn't even know who'd be coming on board.
Right.
And I think it takes a village to raise a child. So I think Ishan, I remember making a few calls. Vikas Kutyala sir called a few guys. Sanjay Mehta sir must have called a few guys. Dal do yaar, dekh lo kya kar rahe. And I'm telling you, the deck was bloody funny, right? It had 4 or 5 products, all concept, barely making 20, 25 to 20 lakhs maybe. We were on a monthly run rate, 2.4 crores. I remember that year. So, but yeah, they made those calls and Indian Angel Network came on board. So I had not made formal pitch. After that, whenever I made formal pitches, the category was not yet evolved. Right. I think, and I don't blame the VCs because for them, the idea is their exit.
Yeah.
And there are marathons and there are sprints. We are a marathon category.
Correct.
It'll take time.
And then 2019, I think, was sort of your last round before.
No, 2019 was my bridge. 2021 was a Series A where NB Ventures and the fund came in with 20 crores. We just got 10 crores in the bank, out of which we had 8 crores in FD. And we were doing whatever 40, 50 crores run rate when Good Lab came in, My Glam.
And how did that happen?
Again, serendipity. A friend reached out and he was saying that, hey, what game are you playing? I said, well, I'm just building the category. I'm liking what I'm doing. And but I know online itna ho sakta hai. And took it till there, and he said, these are the guys that they're doing great with content to commerce, and they're also have a good offline presence. If you think we can do something together, it'll be nice. So that's how it came in.
But was it like, were you out there raising capital and then this happened, or it just happened? Was it incoming sort of a lead?
It was incoming. I was,
Acha.
of course, I had pitched for raising my Series A, which
Okay.
had just concluded, and I think I had the sight to take it to about 100 crores revenue. I mean, from that time when
Were you
Series A
getting profitable at that?
we were profitable in FY 19, 20, 21, all 3 years. I
Wow.
think from 7, 14, 20, 27 crores, 7 crores, 14 crores, 27 crores. And then, by the time the IN closed, we were at 40 crores run rate. And similar time, Good Glam also came in. And with that, of course, we reached 70 and then 100.
So how much of the company did you own at the end of the Series A?
I think it was about 60.
Wow, 60%. It's a very rare.
Yeah. No.
And is it actually that high of an ownership post Series A is usually, even today, I would say most people are probably start getting into the low 30s.
Yeah, correct.
Right? At the end of a Series A. Pre-Series A maybe 20, 30, 40 plus. But I think, do you believe that because you were profitable, you were actually able to say, hey, I don't really need the money
Correct.
as soon as, and that's therefore could negotiate better?
100%. I think it was a very big advantage. The fact that we were not in dire need of money or to get the partner on board. The reason why I did the deal was I thought it will be incredible for the team and for the brand.
Right.
Darpan was raising money at breakneck speed. He was raising at fantastic valuations. I remember by the time the first conversation happened, I think it was at 100 million, then the 500 million, then 900 million, then 1 billion. And all this is happening within the time we were trying to just close. So he had something going, which of course I didn't. So I thought I'd also learn how to do this. And of course the entire acquisition that he was making, I was making smaller acquisitions, which were just in line with our mission, puberty to menopause, what problems are women facing, and he was raising for his larger vision. And they had at least from whatever I knew as an outsider, the CACs had come down drastically because of PopXO. So I think for us, it seemed like a very good thing to do for the longevity of the brand,
Right.
For the team to move to a bigger group, for my investors to get a good exit. I think early on, some of the investors made 20x to 6x to 20x was the range, that angels
At the
were
time
making
at the exit value.
at the exit value.
But it was a big exit for you too. I mean, if you own
Personally.
60, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and we had an earn-out. We had an earn-out. Initially, I had to do some secondaries, then tranche 1 and tranche 2. It was made in such a fashion where they wanted majority, and then tranche 1 and tranche 2.
So many of the founders, they find it very easy to say, and you've done this journey. I want you to give them some perspective. M&A kar lenge.
Correct.
But it's not very easy. Right?
Correct.
At least I think a third of my exits, out of the
Yeah.
33 exits, 11 are M&As.
Wow.
But it's never been simple. It's never been
Correct.
clean.
Yeah.
And it's always there is some heartache at the end.
Correct.
Right? And I've had 2-3 M&As that जहाँ पर सब कुछ sign होने के बाद business transfer हो गया है,
हाँ.
and we never got the money.
Okay, then.
But it just for the reference of the founders out there that are listening, and even investors, what do you think makes the elements of an M&A successful?
Yeah.
In your case, I believe it's because you were profitable.
Yeah.
It was easier for you to obviously know that, hey, I know that if you don't do this deal, I'm not going to die. But many M&As are done the opposite way. If I
Correct.
don't get this money, I
Right.
will die.
Correct.
And that creates tons of issues. So how did that dynamic change because of the way you ran your business?
Well, I think fundamentally, and whatever investments I've made, at least in the D2C, I really push everyone to say, yeah, let's just do this profitably, because.
But they always say you can't scale because we're profitable. That's how
Well, you'll scale slower, but you can always scale. And now the game has changed. When we got in, there was people were doing things profitably because Meta, Amazon, everybody was still trying to work on the monetization, or let's say it was cheaper. Then it became expensive. That's where people started to lose money. But now again, I think it's a while the CACs are a little high on Meta, but if you're a marketplace brand, you can sell every product at a profit, and I think that's where the focus should be. If you're a D2C brand, if you're a consumer product company, because the control is always in your hands.
Right.
If you've raised money, always have that kind of a runway where I would say 6 months before the runway goes dry, I would move towards profitability. And I would just not keep on putting the numbers high so that the other guy coming in likes the number. That's at least how I look at it. And in our case also, luckily, that's the only thing that worked. I think to anybody looking at M&A as the way to exit, I would say if you're selling to a equally fast-going startup, it's good to just do the transaction overnight.
Right.
Than having earnouts built in, because you never know what goes on in either cases.
Correct.
You don't know the culture, you don't know how it'll fit, you don't know how the integration will happen. And other than that, there I also believe it's a like a philosophical answer to give, that if it has to go wrong, it will go wrong.
Yeah.
And if it has to sail through, I've seen the worst of things fall in place like Symphony, and I've seen the best of partnership fall through. There are so many cases where a big group has invested money in the company, and everybody's celebrating, thinking, oh, things can never go wrong. It's a conglomerate of the country, and the companies have folded. Correct, so many of them. And I've seen things where smaller groups have acquired and money has come in through also. So I think kitna bhi diligence kar lo, if things have to go wrong, they will go wrong. So it's better to keep your control in such a fashion that till the time deal happens, keep your company at your office.
Right.
Keep the control at your end.
So important.
This is what we did for a couple of years. The company was here. That's why we kept growing independent of what was happening to the group. And group was also growing. But I think it's important to just keep the control as much as you can. Till
Until you get paid completely.
Correct. Correct.
I think it's so important. I'm glad
day
you're
zero.
saying this. Yeah.
Correct. And take money day zero.
Yeah. From moving forward. Next
Well,
time you do it.
absolutely.
So eventually the money comes in, I think, and we won't get into all the details. It's already in the public arena, but the money, I think about 6 months ago or something, finally complete acquisition was done. How was that moment? Paise aa gaye account mein. 60% of 400 plus is a good amount of money. I won't count
Let's get into specifics, because there is much more than what meets the eye. But yes.
But the money's in, the journey's done. What was that feeling? I think it took about a 9-year journey comes to an end.
Correct. Well, I think it was it's bittersweet. It's sweet because you've seen a lot of moving parts get their due in the journey. Your employees, the brand, the investors. Your family, they can live a better life today as opposed to 5 years later. The bitterness is because of the bittersweet. So that's a sweet part. The bitter is, you're the founder. There's a loss of identity.
Right.
Today you're the founder of Sirona, and tomorrow you're nobody, sort of a thing, right? And it doesn't matter how much you've made or what you've done and what you've fixed, because the fight is with your own self. Right. The identity that you are the one who's seeking a name or a meaning to your life. The other person doesn't really care. He never has. But you'd keep thinking, what's next?
Suddenly go from Sirona's founder to Sirona's ex.
Correct. So, अब सिरोना के बाद सिर्फ रोना रह गया था तो. So. सिसक के. So यार वो थोड़ा था कि it took some time to really come to this realization that I think these are babies you've raised, now they need to go independent. And that's what I did. I did my best, with whatever little resources I had, whatever opportunities kept coming. That's what I made of it. And then after that, started finding my happiness in other startups. Like for the last 1.5 years, 2 years.
I was going to say, have you taken your energies of an entrepreneur? Because I was going through a list of startups. There's an insane number of companies you've done. I think 30 plus at this moment.
They're about 45 down. Yeah. Yes, but yes.
And you were one of the top angels in 2022.
Well, let's not get into that. Yes, go ahead.
But is there a thesis you're going after? Because while I see a lot of D2C brand, but you've also done wealth tech, you've done other stuff.
Correct.
As well. Is there a thesis you're going after?
Now, yes, I think I'm at my best with D2C because I'm able to make a difference. I believe angel investing should not be seen as a pure ROI on every deal thesis. We know that some of them will die. You invest in 10, 3 will die, 3 will be average, 3, 4 will be, 1 or 2 will be super, which will return whatever you invested. 2, 3 will be very nice return, 3, 4 would be moderate, and 2, 3 will die. You need to be okay. And I think as an angel, one thing that at least I have come to terms with is that some money will die, so you have to be okay with it, So I think my respect for my angels has gone up there because they could have also lost a lot of their money. But other than the thesis is I understand D2C. That's where I'm able to add value. And I think I would like to be somebody who's able to, move things for you. So thesis is, like I say, my angel investing thesis is three folds. Know thy neighbor, know thyself, know thy neighborhood. So know thy neighbor is about, I love to know the founders. I love to figure out what their whys are. I love to figure out, I like to look at streak. Actually could be excellence in academics, could be sports, could be books, could be hobbies. Like I'm just trying to understand you better. So know
Where we
thy neighbor.
persevered. Yeah.
And that for me is the most important part. I need to know, do you have a plan B? Because if you have a plan B, plan A will fail. So
Wow, that's very, very intense.
then I would say know thy neighborhood. What category? So today for my category is consumer. I understand this is the stage where I like to get in. Late stage, I'm not effective. I don't want to be there. And know thyself. What ticket sizes? What structure of equity? And what kind of involvement. So I think a sum total of that has made me realize that consumer companies is something where I'm at best at. Early stage is where I'm most effective. And if the founder is great, I think I can really be a nice EA to the founder.
Very, very interesting. I think I have one question before I come into rapid fire. Is that
Always.
how do people reach out to you?
Yeah.
Because obviously you're investing, and it would be really, really awesome. Any VC, I'm
Sure.
talking from VC's perspective now, to have you on the cap table.
Sure.
Because you've built that sustainable business, and you can tell the guy, listen, ye aise hi hota hai.
Correct.
Because there's just so much misinformation going on today
Correct.
in the ecosystem, right? कि everybody believes कि अरे ये हो जाएगा तो
Correct.
next round नहीं हो पाएगा, और optics are so important. You need to have a certain VC. I think you've
Yeah.
proved each one of those incorrect, that you can scale a profitable business. You can have angels and go into a complete acquisition at a fantastic multiple.
Correct.
Right? And that, you can actually exit a company.
Correct.
As a founder, you don't get stuck in these companies forever.
Yeah.
And the same thing for the angels. So if you could just give some perspective
Well, I
of
think
how to reach out to you.
LinkedIn is the best, and I'm on LinkedIn, and happy to, share whatever I know. And I would say whatever thesis you have, just stick to it. Don't try to copy somebody else's thesis.
Right.
And personally, this is my way of looking at it here. That revenues are they're sacrosanct. They're the Bible. Just look at the customer, look at the revenue. Rest things will fall in place, and keep working at it.
So, well, Deep, it's time for rapid fire.
Sir.
I know I did have a time limit with you, but I think this conversation has been intense.
Sure.
So I'll take not more than 5 or 6 questions from you.
Sir.
Whatever first comes to mind, just go ahead
Okay.
and answer. First question, what's the first thing you touch once you wake up?
Oh, okay. My glass of water.
Your glass.
Shit.
Okay. One book you believe every founder should read.
My Gita by Devdutt Patnaik.
My Gita
By Devdutt
Patnaik. We'll put a link to that in the bottom. What's a role you enjoy more, Deep the founder or Deep the investor?
Deep the founder.
Deep the founder. Why is that?
I think I just operate. I love operating. So I think I just love the action. I love to be in the trenches. I just love that. I don't want to be the Gyani Baba.
So you're
Gyan
calling
hai nahi.
investors. Gyani Baba. Okay, 3 words for the Indian startup ecosystem.
Beautiful. Okay, now let me try it again. 3 words for Indian ecosystem. This is the time to be here. Yeah, I think.
What's one app you're completely obsessed with right now?
No, I'm not on apps.
Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, if WhatsApp qualifies.
WhatsApp does qualify.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so yeah.
And I think if you could tell me your favorite superhero.
I like the Batman, but only from the Dark Knight version of the Batman.
Not the. Okay, good. I think I agree with you on that one. And if you could be an entrepreneur again, what would the business be?
You never know. Maybe female hygiene.
Again?
Love the category, man. Yeah.
Well, wonderful. That was amazing. Thank you so much, Deep. I think I loved the journey, right? And the fact that you've obviously, this is sort of your third venture, if you think about it, which you've exited, and you still built it with the intensity and the thought process of a bootstrap person, even though you had money in the account. I like how you said, listen, we raised 10, but 8 was in FD.
Correct.
And we probably never ended up using it.
Yeah.
But I think we were invested in Beardo, and I think Ashutosh says the same thing.
Correct.
Like we got all this money, but it was just sitting in
Correct,
FD the entire
correct.
time. But I think those are the best businesses.
Correct.
Outcomes, even for investors, obviously.
Correct.
But for you as a founder,
Correct.
right? And I'm sure that personal wealth that has been created from this
Correct.
is something I don't think is going to go back to really good use. But it also proves
Correct.
You don't have to raise billions
Correct.
to make yourself millions.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So any final thoughts that you would have before we end today's conversation?
No, yeah, this thanks a ton for having me and thanks for doing this.
Thank you so much, and I look forward to having you at a future episode, hopefully with a new startup talking about female hygiene once again.